forced it into the mouth of the man who was closest to her. The man couldn't fight back at all, so he swallowed it. The moment the pill went down his throat, he tried hard to spit it out, but it was too late. He glared at Ariana in fury, wishing he could tear her to pieces. The other men were also frightened. Ariana didn't continue after forcing the first man to take a pill, because she decided to punish him as a warning to the others. When she forced the pill into his mouth, she secretly released cold magical power to injure his body. Because she directly touched his skin, the man was quickly affected. He felt something cold was entering his body. It wasn't painful, but his body was becoming stiff. The man immediately panicked. Did Ariana really mean what she said? Why was his body getting stiff? Give me the antidote, the man shrieked. He didn't want to be disabled or die. Plus, he clearly knew that no one would pay for his medical treatment. How do you feel now? Is your body getting stiff? Ariana asked, staring at the man with a vague smile. Is it really poison? The other men asked him at once. They didn't want it to be true, but it seemed to be happening. Tell them, how do you feel now? Prodded Ariana. She didn't care if the man told the other men about it, because that was what she wanted. Give me the antidote, the man shouted once more. He only wanted to get rid of the uncomfortable, icy feeling. That was enough to make the other men believe Ariana's words. They were convinced that she could really disable them with a single pill. When they realized that, they were very scared and wanted to give in. Gideon didn't believe Ariana until now. Was this pill really as poisonous as she described? Or did she exaggerate its effect? Those men might get stiff after taking it, but they wouldn't really lose their lives 3 days later, right? Do you want the antidote? Answer my questions, or you will all suffer one by one, threatened Ariana. The bunch of men were still silent, but they were thinking about confessing everything. Enough. I'm out of patience now. Since you're unwilling to tell me, I can only make all of you take this pill, Ariana said. She acted impatient and pretended to pour all the pills out. Upon hearing that, someone opened his mouth. Stop, stop, I can tell you, he yelled. Bucky, no, the other men shouted. Come on, guys. Didn't you see Stan's reaction to the poisonous pill? I don't want to die, Bucky said in a resigned tone. He was an orphan without a family, so he wasn't afraid of the mastermind's revenge. Although he had a close relationship with his fellow abductors, he was unwilling to die with them. After all, he was not even 30 years old, and his life hadn't begun yet. Therefore, he chose to be honest. He might be put in jail for several years, but after he got out, he could change his name and go to a different city to start a new life. Stan, the man who swallowed the pill, immediately agreed with Bucky. I can tell you too. Just give me the antidote, he pleaded. He felt his body getting stiff, but he could still talk. Ariana said it took 3 days, however, so he was incredibly scared. I give in as well. I don't want to die, another man chimed in. In the end, all 5 of them agreed to tell Ariana the truth. We served Tom Wilcox, the second son of the Wilcox family's collateral branch. He ordered us to abduct Mr. Berg, Bucky admitted. He was afraid that Ariana didn't believe him, so he added at once. What I said is the truth. You can do an investigation to make sure of it. I have Tom's private phone number and our call records. Although the call records couldn't prove everything, it at least proved that they had indeed contacted each other. The Wilcox family? They side with the Wharton family, Ariana remarked. In that case, the Wharton family could be the real mastermind, Gideon guessed, looking angry. The Wilcox family indeed sides with the Wharton family, but it has nothing to do with the Wharton family this time. It was Tom's own decision. I'm not defending the Wharton family, but it's the truth, Bucky interjected. Ariana wasn't fully convinced by his words. Gideon, meanwhile, still believed that it had something to do with the Wharton family. What's Tom's purpose? Why did he want to abduct Mr. Berg? What would you do after you kidnapped him? Ariana questioned. We're not clear about it, because Tom ordered us to contact betrayed them, or if they were caught by the police. Without delay, they called Tom and reported the situation to him. When Tom heard the news, he was worried too. He actually didn't care about their lives at all, so he was mainly afraid that the men might reveal that he was the one who hired them. However, now he couldn't get through to them, so he could only hope that they wouldn't betray him. About 10 minutes later, the police arrived, and the leading officer was Gideon's uncle, Roderick. He was his youngest uncle, so he was only about 7 years older than Gideon. Once Roderick got out of the police car, he rushed to his nephew and asked with concern, "Gideon, are you all right?" At the same time, he checked Gideon's body to see whether he was hurt. "I'm fine. This young woman rescued me," Gideon explained, looking at Ariana with gratitude. Gideon wanted to ask Ariana's name, but the abductors were still there, so he said nothing. Although Gideon was fine, he was still scared. If no one came to rescue him, he honestly had no idea what would have happened to him. Roderick turned to look at Ariana and asked gratefully, "Are you Miss Young?" Before he came, he had already heard that a woman named Ariana Young had rescued Gideon. Ariana was the only woman here, so he thought that she had to be the one. "Yes," Ariana affirmed. "Miss Young, thank you so much for doing us such a big favor. If it hadn't been for you, we might not have been able to help Gideon," Roderick said. "You're welcome. I'm glad to help," Ariana replied. Even though Ariana didn't need their gratitude, they were still very grateful to her. However, for now, they had to take the kidnappers away. Ariana rode in the police car with Roderick and Gideon down the mountain. When they reached the place where her car was parked, she got in her own car. As Ariana got out and walked away, Gideon looked at her and wanted to ask about something. However, right when he was about to open his mouth, his uncle stopped him. Gideon didn't say anything until Ariana was gone. have evidence to prove the Wilcox family is guilty. They won't be willing to get dragged into trouble. Once Ariana went back to the city, she directly went to the Ortiz family's house because she needed to give the evidence to Carlos. When the bunch of men decided to confess, she had secretly recorded their conversation. Like Roderick, the Ortiz family wasn't fully convinced that the Wharton family wasn't involved at all, but they couldn't be sure without evidence. Ariana didn't pay more attention to the situation after that, because the Ortiz family could handle it. She would only intervene when they needed her. That night, she stayed at the Ortiz family's house and didn't go back to her university. Before long, the news that Gideon had been abducted spread to a few key members of high society, but it was a little late, so not many people heard about it. However, they were extremely surprised by how quickly he was rescued. Because the fact that Ariana rescued Gideon was a secret, people gave the credit to the police. That was what Ariana wanted. She didn't care who was given the credit. After the abductors were taken back to the police station, they were interrogated overnight. Although Ariana had already questioned them, only she and Gideon heard their answers. If the police needed solid proof, they needed to interrogate them again. Because the men had already confessed to their crime to Ariana and Gideon, they said the same thing to the police. Their confession wasn't enough to prove who was guilty, however, so the police needed to interrogate the suspects for a thorough investigation. It was late, so they decided to go find Tom the next day. Tom had been trying to act normal all evening, but he was anxious and afraid that the abductors might betray him. Kidnapping Gideon was his own idea. The Wharton family, his father and his brothers, didn't know about it at all. He had wanted to achieve something to prove himself. He hoped that after the Wilcox family successfully replaced the Connors family, his father might attach more importance to him because of his great help. In that case, he would be able to become the Wilcox family's heir. The Wilcox family heard the news about Gideon being abducted, but they had no idea that it was arranged by Tom. When the Wilcox family was sitting in the living room after dinner that evening, discussing the situation, Master Wilcox remarked, "I wonder who did it. It's so stupid to abduct Gideon at this time. Obviously, the Berg family has the Ortiz family support, and nobody wants to mess with them. Of course, the abductors failed, which proves they have no ability to go against the Ortiz family. I can't imagine what punishment the mastermind will receive once he's exposed." The truth was, Master Wilcox hoped that the abduction could have succeeded, because if the Berg family was in trouble, it would be a chance for them to get a leg up on them. Unfortunately, it failed. Tom was even more anxious when he heard that. He wondered if he should tell his father the truth. His mind was in chaos, and he could only hope that those men didn't betray him. He honestly had no idea what to do next. Therefore, he wanted to be honest with his father so that he could help him out. Yeah, if it succeeded and caused a sensation, it would have done us a big favor, but unfortunately it failed. Master Wilcox's oldest son commented. His name was Grover. "The Berg family won't stop looking for the mastermind behind the abduction. I don't think it's over yet," replied Master Wilcox. As they chatted, they noticed something was wrong with Tom. Grover asked him, "Tom, what's wrong? You look distracted." Tom immediately came back to his senses and responded, "Oh, nothing." However, he was obviously lying. Master Wilcox and Grover were both very smart people, so they clearly saw that Tom wasn't right, and they somehow had a feeling that it might have something to do with the Berg family. As a result, Master Wilcox demanded seriously, "Tell us if you're hiding anything. This is a critical time for our family. No mistakes should be made, or we'll fail." He hoped that Tom didn't do something dumb that would affect the Wilcox family. Tom stammered. He wanted to tell them, but chickened out when he was about to say it. The longer Tom hesitated, the more nervous Master Wilcox and Grover got. After that, the other members of the Wilcox family exchanged a glance. Was it possible that Tom did something really bad? "You two, go to the study with me," Master Wilcox ordered. Then he stood up. If Tom really did something terrible, he might not want to say it in front of other people. After all, their wives and children were in the living room as well. They could be aware of things, but they shouldn't be involved in everything. Grover immediately stood up too. Tom hesitated for a second, then had to stand up and follow them. Wilcox family. Tom felt aggrieved and wanted to explain. I just wanted to, he began. Before he could finish, Master Wilcox snapped at him. Shut up. Don't tell me you did that for our family. I'm not an idiot. You did that for yourself. If you really want our family to be better, you should have talked to me about it before you took action, he lectured, then continued. Learn from your older brother. Perhaps you think he doesn't have his own ideas, because he asks for my opinion every time he wants to do something, but he's very mature. Don't you know why he is always being promoted faster than you? Tom's ambition wasn't a secret in their family, and Master Wilcox had taught him how to deal with things many times before, but he never satisfied him. Actually, if Tom could deal with things on his own, Master Wilcox wouldn't waste time teaching him again and again. However, he did it for his son's own good. The problem was that Tom felt uncomfortable whenever his father told him what to do. He didn't think it was good for him. Now, he was unhappy since Master Wilcox again compared him with Grover. Fine, I know I'm not comparable to Grover, but why are you always criticizing me? Am I so bad in your eyes? You only compliment Grover, Tom argued. Hearing that, Master Wilcox was furious. What? How could you be so dumb that you don't understand me at all? Don't you know why I criticize you? If you did your job well, would I criticize you? I teach you how to deal with things for your own good. If you think I have a bias against you, there is nothing I can say. Since you dislike me teaching you, you can solve the problem on your own when you get caught for this. All right, now get out, he boomed. Master Wilcox wouldn't really leave the mess to Tom, but he was extremely angry and disappointed at this moment. Tom was anxious. If his father didn't help him, he honestly had no idea how to handle it, but he was still angry at him for being so critical. Seeing that, Grover was angry and immediately hissed, Tom, apologize to Dad right now. Do you think you can deal with this on your own? If Tom was exposed, and the Bird family had solid proof that he was guilty, the Wilcox family would have to take the blame and punishment. He wasn't exposed yet, so they still had time to solve the problem as quickly as possible. Tom understood that he shouldn't be stubborn, so he gave in and apologized. Dad, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. I have no idea how to deal with this situation. Can you help me, please? He pleaded. Since Tom apologized, Master Wilcox's anger went away a little. He couldn't really leave the mess to his son. After remaining silent for about 10 seconds, he opened his mouth again and asked, Who did you send to abduct Gideon? They're my bodyguards, but they never show up with me in public, answered Tom. Although they were his bodyguards, they mainly committed crimes for him in secret. However, he didn't dare to tell Master Wilcox about that, or he would be criticized once more. The Wilcox family did as many bad deeds as the Morton family, but he still didn't want his father to know about what he had done. Even though he didn't say anything about it, Master Wilcox wasn't dumb and was clearly aware of everything. He simply didn't want to point it out because it wasn't important. The most important thing they needed to do now was to get Tom out of this mess. When did you send them to abduct Gideon? How did you contact them? Tell me everything, demanded Master Wilcox. Afterwards, Tom told his father everything about the abduction. Since you gave the order in a phone call, it can't prove anything. There is no way to prove the number belongs to you, Master Wilcox said when he heard the story. But the Ortiz family might be involved in this, so we still need to be prepared, he added. What should we prepare? Asked Tom. If the men really betray you, you'll be taken to the police station for an interrogation. If they conduct a further investigation, they might find some evidence. After all, those men listen to you. Even back, so he abducted Gideon and blamed it on you. Whether people believe it or not, there is no solid proof that Felipe will be made the scapegoat. No one can judge you, said Master Wilcox. Although Felipe stopped working after he was diagnosed with advanced cancer, he received a lot of help from the Wilcox family, and Tom gave him some bonus money when he left the company. Therefore, Felipe was grateful to Tom and would probably be willing to help him. In fact, Tom trusted Felipe much more than the bunch of men he sent to abduct Gideon. Plus, he would give Felipe a lot of money if he was willing to be the scapegoat. With that money, Felipe's wife, son, and parents could live a good life. Great, I'll call him right now, Tom announced with excitement. Not so fast. That call will show up on your phone records, Master Wilcox snapped. Then who should I get to call him? Asked Tom. Master Wilcox fell silent for a while. Who should do this job? No matter who was going to do it, it couldn't be Tom. If Tom's actions were discovered, he might be arrested for playing a role in the crime. Tom hadn't seen Felipe in months, so if he contacted him now, it would have made people think that he talked Felipe into being the scapegoat. After thinking for a while, Master Wilcox said to Tom, call over a security guard who has never shown up with us publicly. In a large family, there were private security guards. Normally, outsiders had no idea about them. Those security guards had never shown up in public, so nobody would know who they were. No problem, Tom agreed, then went to do that at once. About 5 minutes later, he came back with a security guard. Afterward, Master Wilcox explained the situation to the security guard, and the guard immediately took out his phone to call Felipe. Felipe agreed to help without hesitation. He could die at any moment, so he didn't care about the punishment for the crime. If he could get $500,000 by doing Tom a favor, he would be more than willing to help. That way, his family would have more money after he passed away. Then they made the plan step by step. What they didn't know was that their conversation was secretly being recorded by Zella. She was listening stealthily outside the window. The Ortiz family sent her to make sure they got evidence against Tom. The bunch of abductors had only contacted Tom by phone. They didn't meet face to face, and the phone number wasn't under Tom's name, so it couldn't be used as proof. It wasn't hard to prove that this phone number was being used by Tom, but it was time-consuming. Besides, the Ortiz family knew that once the Wilcox family heard the abductors were caught, they wouldn't hesitate to make someone a scapegoat. Therefore, the quickest and best solution was to spy on them. Whatever they did, Zella would report it. Now that the Wilcox family made their arrangements, Zella had the video and voice recording of it. It was the best evidence they could have, and it was much more useful than any confession. If the video was exposed, the entire Wilcox family would also be dragged into trouble. After making the arrangements, the Wilcox family was relieved, but they wouldn't fully relax until this problem was completely solved. Tom, in particular, was still anxious. Will I get arrested? He worried. As long as Felipe doesn't betray you, I think you will be safe, Master Wilcox assured him. Then he seriously warned him, don't take any actions without my permission again. If you're caught, the whole Wilcox family will be affected. Sure, I know, agreed Tom. He was really scared this time. He had done many bad deeds before, but he had never failed before, because he only dared to bully people who were weaker than him. However, this time, he made a terrible mistake. The next day at 8:30 a.m., Roderick and his police officers went to wait for Tom at the public institution he worked for. Other people wondered whether someone in their workplace heard that the Berg family had collected a lot of evidence about the Connors family's illegal deeds. In addition, many powerful families and forces were involved. Among those influential families that wanted to compete against the Berg family, the Wilcox family couldn't be ignored. Therefore, people who knew about it wouldn't be surprised to hear that someone from the Wilcox family, like Tom, had abducted Gideon. It could also have been done by other families who placed the blame on the Wilcox family. But now the police said that Tom was the main suspect, so most people believed that he was guilty. Tom was annoyed by their accusatory looks, but he couldn't argue with them. He had to act as a victim now. Normally, he would be mad when he heard news like this, so he pretended to be furious and said in a raised voice, "What? Why did they say that it was my order? It's slander. It's pure slander. How could you believe their words without any evidence?" "Mr. Wilcox, we need you to cooperate to help us with the investigation," insisted Roderick. "That's not what I'm talking about. You don't have evidence, so you can't take me away. What if my work is delayed? You can't believe that I'm guilty just because of their words. It's humiliating and damages my reputation. I don't need you to show me evidence of the crime I've committed, but at least you should let me know why I'm suddenly a suspect," Tom demanded. "Tom, don't say things that you'll regret later. For the sake of your dignity, I didn't take out the evidence in front of so many people, but since you insist, I can show you right now. Be prepared that both you and your family might be greatly humiliated." Roderick smirked. Saying that, he took out his phone. Tom got nervous. Did Roderick really have evidence? However, he didn't think it was possible. Perhaps he just wanted to ask him whether a certain phone number was his.